Questions?
Hello. Yeah. Bill McWeed, Special Event Hedges. I just wondered if anyone on the panel had a view on who the Barrack's victory gives more momentum to in terms of UK politics. We saw Cameron and Brown trying to jump on the bandwagon yesterday.
Very good question. Bronwyn, you've been thinking about this, have you?
I haven't at all, but I'm trying to be relevant to all kinds of things. But I think neither. Everyone is trying to get a piece of this glory, but Obama is going to inevitably be very introverted. I mean, you're concerned with America's own problems in the first few months. I think it's very hard for Edelman, Brown, or David Cameron to get much mileage out of it.
They certainly were trying yesterday, though. It sounded funny actually, and a little bit silly. And really, it doesn't matter for another 18 months or so until 2010. But they are all trying. Another question? You want to know what's happened to Joe Biden and what is his role? I think really and I'll let Bill get to this very quickly, but his role, he's been doing it in the traditional way, which is that he took very much a back seat during the final weeks of the campaign, and but he will have a larger role once the administration is up and running.
Yes, he was asked by Obama if he wished a portfolio, a particular field to take an interest in and the lead on, and he said no, that he just wanted to be, since he knows the Senate so well, having been there 30 years, wanted to be, the strategy in the Senate and getting things through. I think you'll see him play a very responsible role in the Senate and helping us in overcoming the few votes that we lacked to close the filibuster.
Andrew, you want to say something about that?
Yes, historically, of course, there's a very important constitutional role for the Vice President, which is to wake up every morning and inquire after the health of the President.
Thank you very much. Nick, back there.
Hello. Hi, my name is Nick Pisani from Intelligence Square. What struck me most of all, I think, about the election was the generational change. The difference in the audience in Chicago and in Arizona. And I profoundly disagree with what Andrew Roberts had to say, because I think one thing everybody here hopes is that the right-wing Christian conservatives will never again be able to get their levers on power. That the Republican Party, if it reforms, will have to sort of adopt some Cameroonian changes and modernize itself completely if it's to stay relevant.
Good point, I think. Sarah, why don't you address it first and then Andrew?
I think that's really, really important. If I'd had more than 5 minutes, it would have been literally the next thing that I talked about. I think the generational shift is, first of all, we all know how well Obama pulled among young people, but for me the generational shift is also related to questions about education. Which I think is interesting. What's happened is that young college-educated people are moving into the South and shifting those precincts around. What we saw is, I think, a profound rejection of Sarah Carolyn's know-nothing populism, which is related to evangelicalism, but not the same thing. Her, that shtick about, well, I wasn't one of those rich kids who got a passport and went off to Europe. And I was like, well, actually, you don't have to be rich to get a passport, and you can backpack through Europe, and you might just have some intellectual curiosity. And what I think that we saw was, and actually there was a black man in Chicago who was on the radio yesterday, some of you might have heard this, who said, I think it's great that a black man can be president, but mostly I'm excited to have a president who doesn't need to be told what to say from a teleprompter. And that so that there's, for me, it's the suspicion of education, that this generational shift is really representing that we have young people who are rejecting that out of hand. And we have a move from the urban-rural split, the small-town values that she's trying to talk about, again, because of social mobility. And I think new technologies has something to say about this as well, because what you have is young people moving to North Carolina, to Colorado, shifting Colorado Democrat, because college-educated kids have moved there, relocated there. And so I think it's really changed the electoral map as well.
Andrew.
Well, firstly, Sarah Palin was. Sarah Palin was the VP. I don't think that people vote because of VPs anyhow. I think that she was put on the ticket in order to energise the right-wing Christians who you criticise. But I mean, John McCain was neither right-wing nor a Christian. I don't think this can really be seen in this term. And when we were thinking also about the crowd booing the name of Obama, the Republican crowd that McCain was speaking to, one has to remember that they lost. And if it strikes me that if Obama had mentioned McCain's name in a losing speech, he would have also had a very negative reaction to that. So I think it's just a question of having won or lost, rather than anything to do with Democrats being innately more polite than Republicans.
Bill, did you want to make a very quick point so we can get to another question?
Very quickly, that younger generational appeal in part plays into, I think, the seismic shift that's going on. There'll be more of those people around and fewer of those in the elder generation 4 years from now. Beyond that, we've seen these religious revivals and religious movements in American history periodically. It takes about 30 years for them to burn out. We saw in the 1820s, 1850s, 1920s, 1950s. There'll be a struggle for control of the Republican Party. That was already underway before this election between the three components of social conservatives, economic conservatives, and defense conservatives. There's also a change among young evangelicals who are no longer willing to be, as there is also among Roman Catholics, no longer willing to be one-issue voters. Many young evangelicals are attracted to different positions on the environment, for example, seeing their role as being good stewards of God's inheritance to man. And so there's some real changes going on even there.